Um,
Oh,
and let's do the refuge prayer. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may we attain enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may we attain enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. Sangye chodang toki chognam la changchu pandu dagi kyapsu chi dagi jinso ki pe sonam ki drola panchir sangye drupar sho.
Lama cheno, lama cheno, rinchen sewe, lama cheno, wade lama kuchung, su daba kachi yung che su chen chowe tepo, dambe lama tu ching da chewe che su ka rinda da tenpa da da chen che wang gong bon che wang pa ka chen da chen chang chen bon chen do so wade su tu che su che sen che la yung gu dum na. Da da zo che ten che len ten de wa zo che namo na se nam da ki lama la na se shi chi su che ban pa ka son yung ru tu so wade ko wa du 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 sen che lo che ye no. 마사 제메 자베 토 제메 싱가던데 제베다니 가렌제 로가 주제로 뭐제다 심리 정안에 소원데 준이 정안도 론데 추고도 버신제로 남바데 냐메 심제도 제로 추순도 버신제로 출랑도 버신제로도 손나도 버신제로도 투나이 시즌 자워 버신제로 어서 사자체 뭐죠 모두 더 버신제로도 소 Okay, so welcome. Good afternoon or evening to you. Okay, so we are in verses 11, right? I think so.
That's right, yeah.
Okay. Pembe semje rang du me be tam tsewe me la tsang ne jo ba yang chang bo yin ja ning din ju be ju nyen bar ma wa ku be ning tam yin.
Giving advice with a wish to benefit and without self-interest, or lovingly pointing out someone's hidden faults. We might be honest, but still it creates heartache. To speak pleasantly is my heart advice.
Okay. So now the first things is remind ourselves this is a wonderful opportunity. Always we have to remind ourselves. Or sometimes due to different conditions, we really forgot sometimes, to rejoice ourselves and others. Or there's a wonderful things in doing life, and this kind of study and discussions is one of the best wonderful things to do in life. It's very, very rare, because of the due to our so many things in life has to do kind of busy life, creating so many things. But especially for creating for positive life, it's very rare. Positive actions are very, very rare. Very when we look at it, investigate it, again and again. It's very, very rare. And I've been looking my own 24 hours and we investigate what did I do in 24 hours. It's very difficult to think about what, you know. Uh, so, so that is the one of the rejoicing. That's called the practice of rejoice self and others, which is very wonderful practices actually. Uh, and then when we're discussing this kind of topic, this one we need a little bit think, uh, not ordinary way, not ordinary reading books. This is a little different. This kind of messages from the masters are mostly like a Longchenpa is one way is very realizing, there's no doubt. One way is also very scholar point of view, very scholar. you know. Uh, so therefore, when they wrote text is not ordinary way of saying actually. Most of the time when they explain it's come from the deep realization, you know, from the heart, really the scene in their life experiences, totally realizing, and then wrote in that to the text like this, or to in order to benefit, thought about it can be benefit for sentient beings, you know, very useful. So so we have a reading books and the writing books is a different ways in our reality life, you know, in a scholar point of view, you know, or so it's a little bit different. Then another things we have to think about the word not just a word when we read, you know, it has a behind some explanations there. That is we try to get it. Whether it is to talking about the relative truth, whether it is talking about the really ultimate truth nature of any phenomena, you know. So that is a little different than ordinary discussion about it, you know. Some kind of some statements of the like different lawyers do and so that's the words are the difference in the anadama words. It's totally, you know, when the it's a wonderful to learn the word by word, but there is also most important part, the meaning there, the most. As the Buddha says, do not rely on a word, rely on the meanings, right? Oh, so that is the it that sometimes we have to be a little bit kind of to discuss as possible, you know, and what is the really the practical. One is another way of talking about discussing about uh, what is the really practical now to talk about, to discuss. What should I take that practically in my life? That is also very important in the messages here. You know, we individually how to take these messages, how should I practice, you know, which way I can do it, you know. So there's a lot of things in the learn in this one. So that is, I thought, reminding just ourselves, you know, we all will know, but we remind ourselves. Uh, so so that's why you know, the the text about this wonderful, oh, very fit instructions there. It's very rare to hear like these things in the Dharma sometimes, you know. Or so sometimes, so like they here talking about the same thing. Pembe semje randwe me be tam zewe me la changni jeba yang changbo yin ja ning ne jube ning den jube ju nyebra mawe kowe ning tam yin. Okay. That hard advice very clear here. Uh, even though the Longchenpa saying, even though your intention is nothing wrong, you know, you are truly inside compassion or kindness or to benefit that, but still the speaking as gentle as uh, how to say uh, peacefully, like we call it, peacefully speaking to anybody, you know. Sometimes this happens a lot, you know. But for my understanding is Zapata Rinpoche realize no matter what you are, even though you have a wonderful wisdom to share, but or you know, but I think it's always looking about the timing, isn't it? Timing is so important. There is a certain time is not right. Even though we have a compassion, so many compassion and kindness, but the timing is not right. It has to be just leave it. That the timing comes, looking about the timing, and then speaking or benefiting for self and others. I think so. Oh, it is so wonderful, you know. That is my understanding. Uh, And especially for like the here talking about faults of others to speaking a certain time, uh, it happens in our reality life, but which is not really benefit at all, at all. There's no benefit at all. There's no even the one benefit for my understanding to speaking for faults or other, even though somebody also have that, whatever it is. There's no benefit at all, you know, self and other. It creates to the uh, between two persons relations, so uh, distance become a more longer and more, separated more far, so which is kind of individually or in a lots of happen in the spiritual path too, in the spiritual path, and also lots of happens that way. So oh so therefore I remember one always, most of the time I remember this quotation from Lord Jiti Sungpa says, Drove lunga yisong la ni pe na ma se pa yun tin tong na number chu da kan chu zhen ba co. You know, Drove lunga yisong la ni pe na ma se pa. Lord Jesus says, don't look at the sentient beings' fault, their body, speech, mind, whatever. Even though somebody has a difficulty physically there, we never ever say negative words to them. Always pleasant words as possible. Whatever Dojiti would say, don't look at that at all. Soon as be mindful that. Lord Jesus was saying, each one has its own qualities there. Sometimes the problem part, we don't see that quality part, We don't have that energy, the mindful to look that way, the quality part, always looking for the false part, Always judgmental for the negative parts right away. So that's what Lord Jesus was saying. Number 12. What happens is when you see the qualities, persons, each person has their own qualities there, no matter what you know, how bad it is, but it still has qualities there. So look at that quality, you liberate it, your mind. Your mind become like totally kind of positive. Rechuda kandun dribaso, dajin da hinji kangeja, tujawa so the Lord Jesus was saying the songs, that's one of the for the retreat people, especially for talking about the retreat. But it can be everybody's, So it's very, here messages is so powerful, But the practice is not, as all we know, have a challenge. It's not easy. We'll try our best, We should be, every time practice. So therefore, going back to the, for my understanding, practice, and as I mentioned last time, I highly recommend to read this book about mindfulness, about Thich Nhat Hanh talks about go back to the breathing. Whenever things rises, be right away, immediately be mindful with the breathing, relax, so you will understand those, easy to be deal with, so on. So that's what my uh thought about rather maybe that's Oh, also that's what sometimes is wonderful to practice of silence as a powerful with the time to time, right? So we all know that. That sometimes it's wonderful too. So okay, maybe anybody else to uh I said too long today.
Thank you, Lama. Darcy and John, you guys like to start?
You want to say something? I just wanted to make a comment on the value of silence. I've heard that Many times in the past, I've regretted my words, but seldom my silence.
That's a good point. Darcy, did you have any thoughts or anything you wanted to share?
Not at this time, but thank you.
Katie, do you have anything to add or share?
Don, you're really good with those one-liners to kind of take away.
I know.
Something
Yeah.
or another
Can't
good one
statement.
last week
Yeah.
about say what you mean,
They're,
you say, but don't say it mean. That was another good one.
they're easy because they're easy to remember. And you can do those as easily as taking a breath.
That's helpful. Yeah, I mean, I find myself listening to what Lama's talking about, and really just aspiring to bring it more into my everyday life as much as possible because it's so easy. I guess in the world that I grew up in, and thinking about like the education I received and being the value we place on being a critical thinker. And that word critical, right? It comes from like critic or critique, which is about pointing out a fault in a way, right? It's about like, we can think about the on the Buddhist side of things, we have a positive connotation with the word like a discriminating awareness, which is helpful, being able to really see clearly. But at the same time, how we use that, whether we say anything about that, um, and whether or not we're, I think sometimes masking, for me anyway, maybe trying to understand, but it can sometimes lean in the direction of a negative. And so that's something I want to take care with is just how often I'm looking for a fault, and being mindful about allowing for space that it doesn't matter if you can see the fault or not, or if there is a fault or not, um, and leaning in the direction of seeing their qualities or the positives, uh, and not even just people, but also things, places. It can be a lot of judgment around the food we eat or the place where we're, where we are, or this kind of thing. Those it extends beyond just other beings as well. So those are some thoughts.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it might be fair to say there's some research about our mind, conceptual mind, having sort of a negative bias, or our ego. Maybe it's ego kind of function. And the question that kind of came up for me was, Lama, you emphasized the timing of things, and I was wondering if it made me think of, I think there's is it called the five excellences, or there's something with, an appropriate time, an auspicious place, auspicious, teacher, audience, teaching, something along those lines. And I wondered if that could extend, to this idea of even sharing a praise or a compliment, because I often wonder how to state things more in a positive manner instead of pointing out the fault and saying, "Oh, I shouldn't have forgotten to do that." I say, "Oh, it'd be better to think I need to remember," or how do you our language, English, I don't know about Tibetan, but English seems to have a lot of more negative descriptory words. But I guess I was wondering if there is some application there with the timing, the place, even the person, sharing some phrase, even with praise, like it might actually impact or benefit someone if it was coming in a written form or from someone that the person trusts or looks up to more than just a random person on the social media or whatever, chiming in on a comment section, or something. It feels a lot like a lot of our discourse has been reduced by like you said, not having enough time to really appreciate all of the value of people, much less the Dharma. Yeah, that was just my couple of my thoughts. The floor is open. If Lama, if you have any other follow-ups, or John or Darcy, I don't know if you have any other follow-ups.
Oh, I have a little, I'm reading a book right now. It's called Ego is the Enemy, and it really concentrates on silence.
Hmm. What?
Well, the let's say about the silence. For my experience, the silence is how benefit self and others. The quality of the silence is, you know, to just silence. It has its own qualities. There's no doubt. Then silence there can be many levels of silence possible when I get to understand. The one silence is for me, we are in silence and developing the mindfulness right away there. And with the mindfulness, have a great developing love, compassion, you know, the kindness. I think that silence is wonderful too. The energy moves the internally or externally, you know. I think that is myself. Sometimes I notice not always the truth is, really. Uh, uh, but then sometimes the silence quality of what I'm talking about, the quality of the silence through that kind of kindness or compassion, silence, deep insight, and then you can look at that individually, see things clear, actually. Whatever energy is coming from other side or coming from oneself or coming from somewhere else, see that energy, the situations, how way it is rising things, how it is dissolving itself, you know. See things very clear, it's very clear to see this, you know. So that is, I say, the quality of the silences, you know. And then it is become not just that, and then if we could do that, continue to practice that, it it creates positive energy within in that environment. Really, very peaceful environment and really comfortable, you know. Oh, so just want to be there, you know, just doesn't want to be run away from that environment. But there's the environment creates something else, and then when as a human, as everybody's nature, you know, we don't want to be that environment. Just run, you know. That's what we do. That's a There's another choice. So that's what I see that when I think about the quality of silence. And then at the same time, within oneself, a person who is silent, him or herself has a great developing insight, wisdoms there. Really, very wonderful wisdom self, and great compassion for kindness to the others as a oh, wonderful listening. You know, even it's not easy sometimes, but the silence has to be listened, right? The listening is one of the difficult part. As Thich Nhat Hanh talk about that very highly there, you know, has a wonderful power just listening. Doesn't matter if somebody listening with love, compassion, of course, no doubt, has a great qualities. But if somebody just listening, just without any judgment, just listen. If somebody want to say something, anything doesn't make sense or not, it doesn't matter about that part, you know. Just listening, just let go. Doesn't have to be agree or disagree, especially, you know, doesn't have to be the listening and the silence. I think it's a wonderful, powerful, actually, really. And at the same time, I would say, and spiritually, it is a situation is become a decrease. Whatever challenge is there, it's never going to be increased. You know, other round is going to be increased. Situation getting better, the challenges more. That's why I said there must be, we needed to think and analyzing and meditating. What is the quality of silence? There must be, there are more things there, you know. That's why I say it, you know. Uh, well, uh, yes, what I mean is silence is always, it's a quality there. But there is a timing I was only talking about. The timing has to think about what that really means for me, you know. Let's also think about for me, what is the timing means, you know. What is that timing is, you know. Certain time, of course, a certain situation, of course, it depends on the situation, right? It is individually or it's our own families or the friends and the relations or situation of the world or situation about the countries. I think there are certain things that cannot be silenced, has to be speak out. It doesn't work that way, you know. There's certain things, but at the same time, you know, with the as Zapata Rinpoche say, with the peacefully as possible, right? Right, the bigger picture, like for me, is like right now issues in Tibet. If we are silent always, nobody will understand the situation in Tibet, what's happening, you know, you know. So it's now right now rising a little bit, kind of new generations that are speaking out. I thought it was wonderful, you know. What? But we needed the kind of, there is a certain wisdoms too, right? There's needed wisdom and the timings, you know, timings, there's certain things. But the uh, but as a yes, the balance. going back to the I think so. Yeah, certain things. Yeah. Okay,
Shall
thank
we
you so
dedicate
much.
some prayer?
Yes, really, we
you,
have
Lama.
to run because of uh, today also they're going to run, and then today is my dad passed away 6 years ago. It's today's
Mm.
anniversary, so I have to do a little bit of prayer and some on the way, some candlelight, so and so. So please keep in your mind too, please.
Mm.
Okay, thank you so much again. Yeah, yeah, dedication.
Thank you, Lama.
Thank you, Lama.
So we'll do the short dedication prayers. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. Chongchub Semcho Grimpoche, Mache Panam Kekyoche, Kirpa Nyampa Me Payam, Gong Ne Gong Du Pelwa Sho. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.